13th meeting of the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee. We have a quorum with myself, Vice Chair Evans, Councilmember Rutherford, and Councilmember Sepulveda. All right, and I don't think that we have anybody on public comment. Is there a sheet out there? Okay, no one on public comment. And so we'll move to the resolutions. There are 5 resolutions, and at this point I've got them all on consent. I'll read over them, and committee members, if you see one that needs to be pulled, there's some good stuff on here, but I don't see anything super controversial. All right, so RS 2025-1503 is a resolution urging the Metropolitan government to conduct a disability audit as requested by the Mayor's Council for People with Disabilities to evaluate the accessibility and inclusivity of facilities and accommodations for the disabilities community in Nashville and Davidson County. Item 2 is RS 2025-1504, a resolution supporting the passage of Cameron's Law, which accelerates rare disease innovation and access by the United States Congress, by Druffel, Ewing, and Welch. Item 3 is RS 2025-1505, which is a resolution urging the Tennessee General Assembly to support reforms to the state's property tax freeze program to include those with disabilities, sponsored by Courthouse and Welch. Item 4 is RS 2025-1506, a resolution recognizing the 45th anniversary of the Tennessee Performing Arts Center and the centennial anniversary of War Memorial Auditorium by Coupin, Gadd, Bradford, and others. Item 5 is RS 2025-1507, which is a resolution recognizing September 16th through 23rd, 2025 as Bisexual Awareness Day and recognizing September 23rd, 2025 as Celebrate Bisexuality Day by Gadd, Benedict, Bradford, and others. And I do have a letter to approve from Councilmember Gadd. Are there any that need to be pulled off? Can I get a motion for the consolidated consent or the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any not voting? All right. This consolidated consent agenda passes 5-0. And got Councilmember Pretti and Councilmember Hughes. All right, we have 3 late items. The first one is a late filed resolution. It's a resolution approving a $260,000 settlement agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County by and through the Information Technology Services Department and Comcast of Nashville, LLC. And I have a letter from Senior Counsel Belinda Ramsey that explains that they are in a. It's about a settlement. Do you want to speak to it?
Sure, Chair.
Thank you.
Ryan Wilson with the Council Office. This settlement is between Information Technology Services and Comcast. The reason for the emergency filing involved the timeline. Metro has until the end of the month to essentially finish the settlement, and therefore, because of this window, they seek to get a suspension of the rules to consider it tonight.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Can I get a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, so we recommend 6-0. All right, number 7 is late filed amendment 2025-908 by Coupin. It's an ordinance amending chapters 17.08 and 17.16 of the Metropolitan Code, zoning regulations to amend and add regulations pertaining to the beer and cigarette market use.
Just in time.
We are on your late filed amendment. Councilmember Coopin, do you want to speak to the late filed nature?
Sure, and would love to have Brian Wilson can jump in. There's a little, some wording that needed to be fixed, and there's two different versions of the bill, and this was the correct one.
Yes, this is just housekeeping change to make sure that the amendment reflects a substitute bill that has also been filed
Okay,
with this legislation.
and that's the next.
No, that's a separate piece of
Okay,
legislation.
okay. All right, did we move it? Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, thank you. All right, and the
No, I have the explanation. All right.
last late filed last filed item is a substitute to RS 2025-1478. The bill is sponsored by Tim, and the substitute is sponsored by Councilmember Benedict. It is a resolution setting the compensation of the chair and members of the Metropolitan Board of Equalization.
Thank you.
Councilmember, do you want to speak to the late filed nature of your substitute?
Yeah, sorry to jump in a little eager there. Thank you, Chair.
Good.
So yesterday in Budget and Finance Committee, there was a tweak that the committee wanted changed to my substitute. So this changes my substitute does three things. This changes the third thing, which is that, I can run you through all the legislation right now if you want to wait up the floor, but the late filed nature is because of that change in Budget and Finance Committee.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Any motions?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? And we're at 6. Oops, wrong place. So we recommend 6 to 0 to 0. All right. All right. Next, there are. So, can I ask you a question, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah.
There are in the agenda. There are 2 that we interviewed last time. They were council appointed for the historical commission, and then we have the ones that we're interviewing today, and then we have at the end the others that we interviewed last time that were, I guess, mostly mayor appointed, right? Can I, unless, and committee members, if it's okay, I'm just gonna skip this part and put it together with the last part of the agenda so that we're just kind of doing a consent on those that are up for the second time and we already interviewed. Is that good? All right. And I've had a request, if it's okay with everyone, to move up. There's one of our interviewees today nominees today has a time crunch and needs to be somewhere. And if it's okay, I'm gonna move up Morgan Miller Wallace for the first interview. Is that good with everybody? All right, yes. Come on up.
Yep.
Get up there.
And also to all nominees, I've got up here, I'm going to say this once rather than each time. I've got parking validation cards, and I've also got a couple of quick tickets. We're really trying to encourage folks, especially if you're coming to something downtown, to utilize WeGo. I tell you, it's a stress-free ride, and at least it is for me. And whatever we can do to kind of work on minimizing the congestion downtown, I think is a good thing. And there are a lot of routes to get to many of the places that are holding these board and commission meetings. All right. Ms. Miller Wallace, you are nominated to the Board of Mechanical, Plumbing, and Electrical Examiners and Appeals. And this is for a term expiring on September 21st, 2029. It's a reappointment. So you've been on the commission for at least one term already.
Yes, that's correct.
And so do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with the board so far?
Yes, so my name is Morgan Miller Wallace. I am in the design and construction industry. I've been in Nashville since 2008 and have been afforded to be part of the growth that you've seen in Nashville, from the grand scale of major projects to tenant fit outs and renovations. So have experience in the design and construction industry from the architecture perspective, from the general contractor's perspective, and now currently as an owner's rep in my personal professional career. When I started on the MEP board in, I believe it was 2021, it was actually just the mechanical board. Oh, actually plumbing board, excuse me, and we then all became one, if you will, kind of makes sense. And have been afforded to be part of discussions, also being able to grow and learn myself as a professional in the MEP and MEP realm, and so have enjoyed it so much that I would like to continue on for the next 4 years.
Committee members, any questions?
Thank you so much for your willingness to continue serving. I did note on your questionnaire you stated that if you ever had a client before the appeals board that you would recuse yourself from the vote. Since you've already served and this is a reappointment, have you ever had a situation where you need to recuse yourself?
I have not.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions?
What
Yes.
would you like to, I guess, expand on as part of your responsibilities within the board, or is there anything that you'd like to change? I don't know if you have a vision for like, what does your next term look like?
That's a good question. Probably something I would want to actually explore a little bit more about. So thank you for the question. Actually, we'll take that as an opportunity and a challenge to proceed.
Since you've got an audience of lawmakers here, as you've been serving and listening to appeals related to mechanical stuff and plumbing and electrical, is there ever anything, like you're applying the code or the law, has there been anything that you're like, the law isn't quite what it should be, but we're supposed to apply the law, so like are there any suggestions to us as in relation to like the code or the laws that something needs changing?
No, I think we, as the board in the past, have taken the MEP code and applied it as it's read, as it's written, and have the execution to know that it's not our opinion that is driving the decision. It is based on the code. So if there are any kind of conversations, we do tend to have them, but at the end of the day, we are solely referring to the code and what it says to drive that decision.
Thanks. Anyone else? All right, thank you. All in favor of the nominee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 6 in favor, none against, none not voting. Thank you
Appreciate it.
for your
Thank
service.
You.
Thank you.
And to everybody, yeah. And also to everybody, so tonight you're being interviewed. The full council will vote on these nominations in 2 weeks. You may come to the meeting and we'll, at the end of approving all of the nominees, we'll, clap and recognize you. But however, if you'd like to watch from home or skip it, that is all right too. You're not required to be here at the next meeting. All right,
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just so if I could tag on the end of that, it might be worth noting, so folks aren't confused, that our next council meeting, if they decide to come, is on a Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
And not actually on a Tuesday.
Thank you.
Because it was moved because of the
Yep, because
election.
of election on Tuesday. All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go back to the top of the appointees and nominees. And for the Action Commission, the reappointment of Michael Cousin for a term expiring November 15th, 2028. Is Mr. Cousin here?
I'm right here.
Come on up. You see, this is a reappointment. Thank you for serving thus far. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to continue work on the Action Commission.
Okay, well, I'm native Nashvilleian. I've been here for 73 years. And I pastor a church, been pastoring a church for 30 years. And I've also worked with Metro Action Commission in the past in a position when I worked at a part of Metro government, the Nashville Career Advancement Center. So we used to work with them as far as working with youth 18 to 21 that were in GED programs, and we would help pay for the classes. I would help them find jobs through Metro Action. So since being on the board, I have been there just about, I think I may have missed one meeting in the whole time I've been there.
That's
So,
a good record.
of course, we've gone through a transition, finally getting a new director, executive director. I was on the interview committee of the first set of people that we had that was interviewing for the job. And so, as of now, I think with my experience being on the board, that I would be able to help make that transition for the new person. And I'm serving on 2 committees there as well, the Policy Council and also Family Resource Person. So it's been a learning experience for me, and of course I do try to make some contributions when we have questions about some of the things that Metro Action Commission is doing. So it's been good.
It's a fairly large commission, and I forget exactly how many members, but it's comparatively.
Yes, they have various departments, of course. You know, they do the Head Start. Also, they help with the energy situation as far as with people needing assistance with rent and different things like that. And of course, they were real instrumental during COVID as far as making sure that people, when they didn't have work, that they were able to get their rent paid and other stuff paid. So it's been they've been a help to the community. And just moved to a new location as well last year. So.
Committee members, any questions or comments? Councilman
Okay.
Councilman Rivers?
Since you've been on the commission before and you had this experience with Dr. Crooms leaving and then hiring the new director, like what do you feel like the next challenges that you all will face in the commission are?
Well, I think some of the challenges we're going to face with some of the cuts that's being done, and how to ensure that we keep serving people to the capacity that we have been, and how to secure other partnerships in the community. So I think that's going to be a big challenge for the new person coming in. But I will say that the person that was acting director, until we did get a new person, he's been very instrumental in keeping the agency moving and together. So I think he'll be a big help with her as far as making that transition as well.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cousins, I just wanted to say I greatly appreciate your continued commitment to service to our community. Just understanding how much that you've done for folks here is vitally important. So I wanted to give my most heartfelt thank you for your continued commitment to Nashville and to some of the most vulnerable folks in our city. And one thing that I wanted to ask you is just providing you the opportunity, if there's anything that we haven't asked you yet that you feel like it's important for us to know about the work that you do and the work that MAC does.
Well, one of the things we do, and I say it out at my church, when we have people that have used up their resource to be able to go to Metro Action, because you know you can only use them for I think once every 6 months or so, and we have been able to pick up some of that slack at our church. We do provide some community services such as with rent, prescriptions, and also housing, as well as food. So I think that that's going to be a challenge also for Metro Action to be able to do to fill in those gaps, because with prices of everything going up so high, some people don't have to make a choice between food and a place to live. So I see that to be an important part of Metro Action.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you for your service. All those in favor of Mr. Cousin for a term expiring November 15th, 2028?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? Thank you, sir. And don't forget, parking validation and bus card. All right. Next, we have got the appointment of Megan Godby for a term expiring July 1st, 2028. And so you are, this is a new appointment for you, you haven't been serving on it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you see at, like, why you are interested in serving on this commission.
Absolutely. So I've lived in Nashville 20 years. I'm trained as a teacher and have worked in education across the spectrum from early childhood all the way to higher ed and adult ed. And much of that time I actually worked for the public library and worked in conjunction with Metro Action to support adult learners getting their GED and high set. We talked to families that needed rental assistance when they were getting their books. And I just spent the last 4 years at United Way working on early literacy and how we increase the number of total seats we have available for childcare. So I feel like I've gotten to engage with MAC in all of these different realms, but it's a new seat and a new way to think about how I support MAC and community partnerships.
Sounds like you've got some good background to bring to the group. Yes, Councilmember Prepty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So looking at looking at your resume and all your experience, I think it's phenomenal, because one of the things that I'm really passionate about is early childhood education, particularly literacy. Whenever I talk about this, I always share, like, I was one of the kids in the class that hated having to read. Like, I was never a good reader, hated reading, it made me feel stupid. And so looking at your experience, I think you're a phenomenal fit in knowing the work that MAC does. But I'm also curious about your experience within adult literacy programs and your view on how we can expand those and have better partnerships between MAC and the Nashville Public Library to make sure that those resources are available to folks across the board. Because I think that, nationally we're in a literacy crisis. But it's not just the kids. They're, like, a lot of folks in adult age can't read. So I'm curious about your view on how your experience will be a benefit for MAC and sort of some of the things that you want to do during your time with MAC.
Sure. MAC has a unique position to be able to do a full two-gen approach. Not many people or organizations that work in the literacy space have both of those pieces at play, and the public library had both of those pieces at play, but they didn't necessarily nest together. So I think there's some interesting learnings and connections we can draw between the adult literacy team that helped build at the public library and what MAC's able to do in adult ed. One of the ways that we were partnering in the past was trying to get stronger referrals for adults who want to be able to get a seat in a GED or a high set program, or find a way to go to community college. So we developed a referral tool called Nashville Helps that still lives on the library website, and MAC is one of the partners that responds when an adult learner sends in a message and says, hey, I would like this. So I think building on, like, how do we leverage the community resources that currently exist, and as Michael was speaking, how do we make up for some of the federal links in the chain that may be gaps? I spent most of this morning trying to map where the cuts in childcare are going to affect different funding streams and try to determine strategically across the city who makes the most sense to step into that gap. And it may be MAC and it may be another community partner.
Perfect. And then this kind of doesn't really have anything to do with serving on MAC, but I'm curious about your sort of having a teaching background in the teaching philosophy on how we're teaching literacy, because I know that previously there was a trend of moving away from teaching phonics and phonetics, which I think has been a detriment to our students. So sort of curious as to, like, your perspective on the use of teaching folks phonetics within literacy programs.
Phonetics are a key part of any literacy program, but in the last 10 years, the science of reading and those aligned curriculums really make sure that you're teaching kids not just skills in isolation, so learning about how sounds, but the context of those sounds. So I think that ripples into, like, a family literacy approach where parents are supporting learning, but most parents are probably not standing in the grocery store asking a child, how does this letter sound? They may be talking or singing or making a game about the words on the cereal box. So it really is more of a holistic approach.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. All in favor of Ms. Godby for a term expiring July 1st, 2028 for the Action Commission?
Aye.
All, any against? Any not voting? Thank you. Right, for the Auditorium Commission, the appointment of Van Pennock for a term expiring June 30th, 2028. Hello, sir. This is an appointment, so you haven't served yet, but you have agreed to. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you think you bring to the Auditorium Commission.
Well, I am originally from Tuskegee, Alabama. Came here to attend Fisk University. Father of 5, 4 daughters and two sons, and one son, and a grandfather of 7, 5 granddaughters, 2 grandsons.
Bless you.
Yeah. So I'm surrounded. I have served in Nashville on a number of community boards, university boards. I served with Councilmember Evans for a few years on a board with her. What I think I bring is I also do some nonprofit board training. So that's an area of interest that I have. So I've not served in a government agency before. So it's interesting to see how that side functions.
Committee members, any questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, of course, I know you, so I know you'll do an excellent job, but I was kind of curious just about the Auditorium Commission. Like, do you have a secret auditorium interest that I just was not aware of?
No.
I asked you and you're like, yes, I could do this, like,
Because the call came,
yeah,
and I said yes.
okay.
You know, that's something, you know, somebody, depends on who asks me, you know.
Well, my experience has been with Mr. Pennock, just an excellent person to work with, very easygoing, but always brings really strong insights to the conversation. So I think you'll be a really awesome person to have on there and advance the auditorium. So I'm excited next time I see you for you to tell me what you think.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, all in favor of Mr. Pennock for the Auditorium Commission term expiring June 30th, 2028?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? Approved 6-0 to nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, I forgot to mention, on the WeGo cards, I think it's $10.
Okay.
So that should 2.5 trips, like two ways and one.
Well, maybe
That
I'll
you have
just
to-
go one long
that you
one.
might have to all right, next, item 13, the Board of Mechanical, Plumbing, and Electrical Examiners and Appeals, the reappointment of Western Eiler for a term expiring on September 21st, 2029. Mr. Eiler, this is a reappointment, so you've been on how many terms?
1 term.
1 term, all right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience on the board and what you'd like to do with another term.
So I'm currently the vice chair of the board. The chair of the board retired or moved out of Davidson County halfway through my first term, and we elected the chairman, and I was elected the vice chairman. So I've enjoyed serving on the board, looking forward to doing it again if y'all let me, and I think I have good experience to bring to the mechanical and plumbing side of things. I work for Nashville Machine. We're the largest mechanical contractor in the city. Been there 10 years, and I'm a licensed mechanical engineer here in Tennessee, so I think I have plenty of experience, and I enjoy doing it.
I asked Ms. Miller-Wallace about if there are, since you're applying laws, codes, if you come across some that you know you have to apply the law, but you think there's something a little not quite right with it, if there are suggestions to us as to changes we might need to make.
There is a section of the IPC that dictates how many plumbing fixtures you have to have for different uses, different occupancies, and et cetera. And there's a provision in there that most public buildings are required to have high-low drinking fountains. And as of COVID and all of that, no one likes to use drinking fountains. So, we see those cases probably 6-8 times a year, and we typically grant variances to let people have bottle fillers if they provide cups or, something to that effect. So that's something that comes up quite often, and I think the plumbing codes here in Nashville is actually looking at making a local change. So.
Interesting. Members, any other questions? All right. Where was I? All in favor for the reappointment of Western Eiler for a term expiring September 21st, 2029 to the Board of Mechanical Plumbing and Electrical Examiners and Appeals?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? All right, thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time.
All right, next for the Historical Commission. All right, if you'll note, we've got 15 is Historical Commission appointment of Caitlin Jones, and 16 is Historic Zoning Commission appointment of Caitlin Jones. So, Ms. Jones, you want to come on up? So, I think in questioning her, we can just kind of do it as one lump, but then we'll obviously have to have 2 votes, right? I want to hear a little bit about you. I saw that you have served on the Historic Zoning Commission before, and the reason that you're up for both is that you have been nominated to be the liaison, the Historical Commission's liaison to the Historic Zoning Commission.
Yes.
So I'd like to hear a little bit about yourself, but also like how you, and I, assuming you know some of the background that we just this spring kind of did made some changes to the way that staff is structured, and so the Historical Commission staff and the Historic Zoning Commission staff aren't necessarily working in the same quarters and might not be quite as integrated as or connected as. That's a question, right? So I guess what do you see as your role to kind of make sure that in this new time with this after that change, how you might be a good liaison and make sure that there's communication and connection between the two.
Sure. So again, Caitlin Jones, and as mentioned by the chair, I served the Historic Zoning Commission from 2017 to 2022. So I finished out someone's term, very short amount of time, just a couple months, and then I was appointed to my own full term, which is pretty long terms, as you see, I think it's 5 years. So, so I served and then rolled off. I think that was, 2 mayors. I think we went through 3 mayors during my term, so I was a different one when I left than when I started, and wanted to do new things, which is fine. So have not served on the Historical Commission, just Historic Zoning before. I was not the liaison piece before. That's the new element for me this turn. But with that, so again, just a little about me. I'm a native Nashvilleian, born and raised here. I work in my real life for R.C. Matthews Contractor. I've been there for 13 years, which is another, I think we kind of specialize in really cool historic renovations downtown. So that's something that I think I bring to this, and that was why originally I was thought of years ago for Historic Zoning Commission, was the construction background and work, have experience in historic buildings. As far as this new role, I have not. There's a lot of new elements. Moving it under the planning department, that's new. I'm aware of that, but haven't been in it, obviously, so I'm not exactly sure. But learning how that, is changing and how that goes. Being the liaison for Historical Commission, I think I'd be good at that because that is, really what I do for a living. It's, liaising between architects and contractors and designers and, keeping everyone abreast of information and things like that. So that is something that I think that I'm skilled at doing and look forward to learning exactly how the MHZC now works under planning and getting more into that. And then also, the MHC being a new entity for me, learning about that and moving forward and just being conscientious in the work.
So tell us a little bit about your experience on the Historic Zoning Commission. and, you know, we're going back in, are there things that, and while you were serving, were there things you thought, you know, we really could be doing this better, or, you know, it's, sometimes we're too strict in interpreting and applying the guidelines, or we have too much flexibility, or just tell me about your thoughts about.
It's an interesting body, as it is it's considered a quasi-judicial body in Nashville, and so it always has been interesting, and again, I'm not fully understanding, and I don't think they are yet, of how it's functioning quite, under planning and how that's working. But just as a body, and I think in my previous experience, your charge is to, get the case, research the case, read the report, and then as an individual, make your own, ask through questions and research, make your own vote, and so everyone votes how they vote. And so I think that's kind of the difficulty and also the beauty of it, because it's an individual, and so yes, some votes would go unanimously, some votes would, okay, this is an easy one, so you're taking the rules and, okay, this is how this applies to this case. So, it is a challenge of, okay, well, how, if you're looking at the rules and, okay, well, this is, what the district, again, the neighborhoods enact these, districts generally, and so it's, okay, well, this is the rule, then this is my interpretation of it. But I do think that that's the reason that there are 9 individuals on the body, is that everyone can have their own, an interpretation, but within your framework of rules is your charge as a commissioner, I think. And so I think over my first position, I took that really seriously. I mean, it was funny, Cyril and I would see each other on drive-bys sometimes, as we're just happen to be in our car, and we don't talk about it, but you just drive by because, you want to see, I had a question, what is this, that we're going to, an upcoming case, and wanted to really make sure you know all the details, because it is important for citizens to have a fair, with fair shot, even though we're just providing the recommendation to council, who really makes, well, I guess now planning and then council, it's the layers, but.
You lost me on that. You're providing a recommendation to.
MHZC, when we have a case, it then goes to council and you all vote on that.
Well, when we create overlays, that's true.
Oh, okay.
But on the, when you've got an applicant that's like building a house or redoing something and needing your approval to say, yes, the plan sticks with the guidelines, that doesn't come to us. It's just.
Oh, okay, I guess it goes to maybe
the
just the
votes
legal,
on, it doesn't go to I don't think it goes to planning or to the council. The overlays,
That's right,
when there's a
okay.
creation of an
Correct.
overlay.
Yes.
Like you all vote on the guidelines and say,
Correct.
yes, these
Yes, that's
guidelines,
what we think.
we adopt these guidelines, and then we're the ones that place it on the,
Understood.
geography, right?
True, yes, correct.
And
Sure.
Councilmember.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your willingness to serve again. I do have a question.
Yes.
You're familiar with Marlin Meadows? The project Marlin Meadows, I think it was before you all.
She was off in 22, and so it's been off for like 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you say yes?
It's a project that was before the historical zoning commission a little bit ago, and so in my opinion, I believe it set a bad precedent in which we had a specific overlay making certain types of home, marking them as historical homes. In my opinion, those aren't historical homes, right? And it's a tool that could be used to prevent certain types of new construction in the future, right? We are in a affordable housing crisis in the city, across the country in general, right? So my question to you, right, as we have projects that come before you, you will have to balance what a historical home, a historical overlay is, and when someone is just trying to prevent new housing, new projects from going up. right? So when does a certain area become historical, right? How would you weigh that? How would you balance that?
No, that's an interesting question, and I'm, to be frank, not very familiar with that one. Again, if it was during my time, I don't remember that at all. We really, in my previous term, we really, I mean, again, in that 5-year span, for a new district, I think we only did one, maybe two. You know, I mean, really, it was just individual cases that were more so. But that one does not sound familiar to me, so if it was, then that's my memory. But for that is an interesting piece, because there are, you know, there's the, I guess, or if there's still, you know, there was the neighborhood conservation overlay, and then the historic conservation overlay, and how those are different, how the, you know, I really think it would just be, you know, using that as a tool to bar development. I can't say, like, completely, you know, just if for instance, if I don't believe that if I agree with you in this instance that I've done my research, I don't think that these are, you know, I think that hasn't happened yet, so it's hard to completely say in a hypothetical what I would do, because I don't have, it's a hypothetical situation. But I really think that warrants, you know, a deep dive into what is the charge, and what are we looking at, and what is the research saying, and all of that. So I think it's just really conscientious educating yourself as a commission member and what you believe or what you're reading about, I think would be, but that never happened in my history, so that would be a first time for me to go through something like that. But I think just educating yourself and having to know the information, and then, you know, you make your vote as you make your vote.
Anyone else? Councilman Purdy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I see that you have had some experience abroad, and know that you have Spanish proficiency on your resume. One of the things, sort of going off of what Councilmember Sepulveda was talking about, the heart of this question is like language access, making sure that Metro government is accessible to all folks. And so during your previous term on the board, did you have any issues with folks who were coming before the board who didn't necessarily have appropriate language access, or how would you try and make sure that everybody who came before you would have access to appropriate language services as needed?
That's a really interesting question. Thank you for that, and that's a really interesting, thing to think about. I do recall a few, you know, because again, it's homeowners or people that are there on behalf of a homeowner. For instance, the majority of cases, at least for MHCC, that's what I'm referring to. And I do remember a couple of instances. I do remember one gentleman came several times, not strictly because of the language barrier, but just because it just kept coming up, and we can, hey, you know, fix that, you know. And so, or for different projects as well. But that is a really interesting question. I'm not sure, and I would have to look into that. You know, do they request, you know, can you request a translator from Metro? You know, I'm not sure. I mean, again, for me, I remember distinctly helping them get by with questions by speaking to them in Spanish, but then no one else knows what you're saying. You know, so then how can that be recorded? You know, I don't know the rules to that, actually. So that would be an interesting thing for me to learn more about on behalf of Metro government, and is that something that is provided in commission meetings? Because I definitely would advocate, you know, wholeheartedly, not just for Spanish, obviously, you know, the hundreds of languages are spoken, you know, in Metro Nashville. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that fully. You know, I mean, I would advocate for that, because I believe that everyone should have that, for sure.
I'm going to add, I think it's support across the board, but I think it's also, I want to point out, important for the Historical Commission, because we want to make sure that we are, you know, really digging to find the histories of our Nashvillians, and it's not just the stuff that bubbles up and gets covered in, you know, prominent Nashville media, but that we kind of are looking for things that may not be as easily accessed.
Absolutely.
In our history.
Oh, yeah, I would look forward to doing some of that. Absolutely.
Anyone else? All right, we got 2 votes. First, the appointment of Caitlin Jones for a term expiring August 10th, 2026 to the Historical Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? All right, that was approved 6-0-0. And next, the appointment of Caitlin Jones for a term expiring June 30th, 2030 to the Historic Zoning Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? Also approved 6-0 to nothing. Thank you very much for your
Yes,
willingness to
thank
serve in
you.
both capacities. And,
Thank you all.
have a good day. All right, so now we're gonna go back a little bit to the board and commission elections, the first section.
We got one more.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Shannon Green.
No, I'm sorry, this has been withdrawn. Right.
Okay.
Shannon Raybon has been withdrawn, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So, I think they're getting together the, packet submission and will probably resubmit at a later date. All right, sorry. And so, let me go back. So, this is, the first section is, starting with number 9, or that it is number 9. These are the two that we interviewed last time, the council nominees for the Historical Commission. So that, and then I'll jump to the board and commission confirmations that we wrote on last time, starting with number 18. And we'll have that as a consolidated consent agenda on these items. So for the board and commission elections to the Historical Commission, consideration of nominees to fill one vacancy on the commission with a term expiring August 10th, 2029, with an election to be conducted at the September 16th, 2025 council meeting. Phil Claiborne, nominated by Councilmember Gregg, and Betsy Phillips, nominated by Councilmember Benedict. We'll vote to approve one of those two. And then board and commission confirmations, starting with 18, the Arts Commission appointment of Camille Greer for a term expiring January 1st, 2027. For the Board of Mechanical, Plumbing, and Electrical Examiners and Appeals, reappointment of James Lassiter for a term expiring on August 1st, 2029. And then item 20, the Employee Benefit Board, appointment of Bradley Penson for a term expiring on June 30th, 2028. And for the Fire and Building Codes Appeals Board, the reappointment of Marina Dupe for a term expiring on June 20th, 2029. Any thing needs to come off the consent motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, and that's 5-0. All right, thank you. As in terms of a chair's report, I want to let y'all know that although we've got a lot of great members on this committee, I asked Councilmember Evans to serve as vice chair this year, and she said yes, and so I'm grateful for her serving the committee and helping out.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything else from committee members? All right, thank you very much.